Oh.
You gonna get the trick? You gonna pull off the trick?
Hold on. Damn it!
Oh my God! All that for nothing.
Yep, that was the biggest waste of
All
time.
that for nothing. You're
I
like
wouldn't
the
even watch
Giants
the show now.
man.
Yeah,
You're
no,
like
it's
the
just
Giants.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, baby. We here.
We're still.
You're in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna, and this is GPS. Yeah. Oh,
This is
baby,
the
we
universal
riding.
sign for GPS.
We
Do
riding,
it, kid.
baby.
Do it at school, kids. And when the teacher says, "What are you doing?" say, "Supporting GPS."
I'm getting navigated.
All the kids in the school be doing this because they're supporting GPS.
So can I ask what the correlation between this hand motion is and GPS?
It's just fun. Doesn't have to make sense. It's just fun. It's
All
GPS.
the kids are doing it, I hear.
If I could just get one classroom in America today to have 30 kids doing this, and the teacher's like, "Stop," and they're like, "No, we're supporting GPS," we will have won today.
Did we, though? I feel like we ruined education then for that classroom for a little bit.
No.
No?
Our educational system's broken anyway, Tom.
Oh, I mean, I'm aware. I mean, it's just... sorry, Pizzle. Sorry. But...
Speaking of teens, kids, Jess and I took Carm out to lunch, okay?
All right.
And then we went over to the park, played for a little bit, and I saw like this, looked like a 14-year-old kid, like kind of staring at me, and
Ooh.
he kept staring at me.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I think that kid might recognize me. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, like he was staring, but he was like kind of far away, and there's like
All
a
right.
fence. Like,
Go Bills.
I don't know. I'm just trying to play with Carm. So we leave, and we're walking back to our car.
Yeah.
And we hear this voice behind us, like, "Coming through," and it's that kid on his bike, and he goes past us. And as he rides his bike past
No
us,
way.
he just goes, "What up, Perna?" And then continues to keep going. Didn't stop and say hi, just "What up, Perna?" And then just blew past us on the bike. Jess and I laughed about it for like 5 minutes. We're
That
like,
is
such like a teenage
amazing.
boy thing to do.
Listen, if that teenager is listening or is listening at some point, the next time you do that, you have to do the Scooter Elway past him. Like, can you imagine this person rides by? It's like, "Johnny John. That kid would have won life and would have potentially avoided being drop kicked. Now, my question is, middle schooler or high schooler?
I think middle school.
Drop kick. You should have dropped. Then you should have drop kicked him, and like that is what you get for being a middle schooler. That's
What
it.
up, Perna?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
maybe Garf. Maybe after this week.
if you're listening, kid, do this in your classroom.
That's it.
Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of, oh man.
Hey,
Russell
Brett, you like
Wilson.
the Russ zone? Hell yeah.
Steelers country. Well, that's wild. Russell Wilson, and it was so funny because the way that game started, I was like, oh no. Like, there were some blatant throws at Russell. Like, that one throw where he zips it to the sideline, and it's a good, 2 to 3 yards behind the intended receiver. And Mike Tomlin's just...
Tomlin's like, yeah, did I make that wrong decision?
I don't know about that. And then Russ played a pretty damn solid game. Some phenomenal catches by George Pickens.
Oh my God.
And Pat Fryermuth had an amazing grab. There's the receivers did work, but had a strong run game. And yeah, Russell Wilson, we're riding, baby. We're riding. Yeah. How do you feel about it, though?
No, I love it. Like, I think I've got a lot of opinions on this game. Steelers fans, far less patient than Broncos fans. They're booing Russell Wilson 15 minutes and 7 seconds into that game, Tom.
My man counted.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? They're booing him? We're not even. I was like, I was hoping it was still the first quarter, but it was technically the second quarter. I was like, dang, that's impatient. Okay. Now, when you look at it, Russ had a better debut for his new team than, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, a lot of those guys to make the switch. It's another switch for Russ. It's a second switch. New offense. You got to factor all that stuff in there. So it took him a quarter or so to get going. But the Steelers, you got the Russell Wilson experience. That's the best he's going to play. FYI, that is the best he's going to play. And it is good enough to win you games. I think George Pickens, like we thought, is a perfect receiver for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson needs a guy he can just throw it to and trust that guy's going to catch a fucking ball. And George Pickens is that man. But also, Russ didn't convert a single third down in the first half of that game.
Mm-hmm.
That is a thing that will happen. It'll be streaky, just like that. And the way he finally got a third down conversion was one of those insane George Pickens.
Yeah.
The one where he bobbled it like 3 times and then
like ripped it.
Give me that goddamn ball.
Happy almost birthday, Sean.
But the thing Russ did very well, just 1 sack in that game. And if he can continue to not have sacks, Steelers can win football games. Also, if Najee keeps running for 100 yards. They did the things that you need to do to win with Russ. And I want to see Russ play well. I think there's this misconception with Broncos fans who are fine with Russ moving on is because we hate him or something. And that's not true. It didn't work out. And I think a lot of Broncos fans feel 2 things are true. One, Russ probably didn't get a fair shake in that second season with Sean Payton, but Russ also does things that are really hard to forgive for a veteran quarterback that will cost you games. Now, you can mitigate those. We saw Pete Carroll do it for years with Russ, and I think the Steelers can as well. He can be an effective quarterback. He's just not the guy we watched in the first half of his career in Seattle where he will run backward for 40 yards and still find a way to turn that into a positive play. So, I hope he does well for the Steelers because, it's a wild ride when Russ is winning. It's a wild ride when he's losing, too. And I think the Steelers got a good taste of everything he can do in the game. But, would they have been any better or worse with Justin Fields? I really don't know. I did like Tomlin after the game. They asked him about making that decision. Was it tough? And he was just like, "That's why I get compensated very well." Walked off. It was yes.
Just baller. Romeo Dobbs, baby, number 1 receiver. Oh, by the way, I want to we'll talk about the Packers, but I want to show you one thing real quick. This made its rounds yesterday, and I want to talk about the Jets and all that great stuff, but this throw that Jordan Love made and the catch by Tucker Kraft, and to see how close that is for
Look at
that. That is disgusting.
It is a game of centimeters, the NFL.
So it's funny because the talk, of course, is, Jordan Love throws a lot of interceptions. He has the same amount of interceptions as Patrick Mahomes right now. And
as who?
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. And has more than double his touchdown output.
Jesus Christ.
You right?
Yeah, loud ass noises happening above me where I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, no. So he has double the touchdowns of Patrick Mahomes and also the same interceptions, which is insane that the Chiefs are literally undefeated still.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. I do want to talk about the Jets because I think heading into this game, this was, I don't want to say overlooking the Steelers, but the main story was about the Jets, even though Russell Wilson was starting, right? Because you got Davante Adams back. Let's see how this offense is going to do. Try to get Davante Adams early and was just missed him a little bit. And that was a rough game. And again, everyone's going to crap on Aaron Rodgers, and for some, rightfully so. That Garrett Wilson interception is not his fault, right? Literally hits him in the chest. But man, this is deflating as hell if you are a Jets fan, and also probably the expectation at this point. But the fact that things are not looking better, you're unable to knock off the Steelers, which even the Cowboys were able to do that. It's bad. And I think it's, again, just the expectations heading into it were so high, and they're only getting higher, right? And it's like, okay, well, you fired your head coach. He's gone now. All right, well, now we're bringing in Davante Adams. So now let's see. And still you score 15 points. And again, kudos to the Steelers defense, 100%.
They're good D, yeah.
Yeah, they're good defense. But damn, dude, like it's rough. And the Jets don't have the worst schedule, but I mean, I know we're in week 7, but we're starting to get there. We're like, okay, we're starting to get a feel of who's good and who's not. And it just feels like the deficiencies of the Jets, man. Like, if they can't win these games, it's going to be a problem. And
yeah, I think they
stinky.
I don't know. They're just a dumb football team, the Jets. It's like they don't have a guy who is planning on being their head coach this season. It's like they don't have a dynamic play caller running their offense. Breece Hall was having a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Keep leaning on that. Keep getting Breece Hall more and more touches when he's got the hot hand.
Well, he was being good as a receiver. Like, as a receiver, he was great because their run game, dude, they have 54 yards. And again, this is why going against the Steelers defense, I understand. You know, they're
take a page out of the Russell Wilson playbook and check down to your running back every time. And Breece Hall, he might have had like 200 receiving yards in that game.
Dude, they bring in Davante Adams. You have Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, and their number one hookup, like with Allen Lazard. Yeah. And your leading receiver is Breece Hall.
I think, like, Adams had like 3 receptions for 30 yards, right? But I think obviously you got to give Adams a little bit of time to acclimate there. You know, it's just on a weird week, right? That was the biggest story. It trumped Russell Wilson starting. It trumped Trump in Pittsburgh. And it trumped Amari Cooper going to the Buffalo Bills. So it does have the most attention. It's a primetime game on top of all that.
For whatever dumb reason.
So it's just going to take a little time, I think, for Adams to really find his role in that offense, the current iteration of whatever the hell that offense is. And we saw like Amari Cooper struggling a little bit to acclimate in Buffalo, but he had a touchdown. He had more receiving yards. Even if Keon Coleman is telling him what route to run, like, he didn't get the playbook. I think Cooper said to like Wednesday or Thursday for the Bills. So I think we'll see both Cooper and Adams look better, a little bit better next week. And you know, maybe 3 weeks from now, you kind of see how they actually fit. The difference is the Bills are sitting atop that division. They're in the driver's seat, and the Jets got to dig themselves out of a hole. And the thing we thought that would do that would keep them at a winning record at this point is their defense doesn't look great. It's been very good at times this season, but it's not been the same defense it was the previous 2 years. So who knows?
That's fair, Kyle. Yeah, no, the run defense has been disappointing all season, though, for the Jets. I mean, they can't really stop the run. The 49ers ran all over them. The Steelers ran all over them last night.
But they're going to get Reddick in the mix.
Yeah.
So, good job.
So, I mean, you're sitting at 2-5, and I just want to take a look at the Jets because this is going to be this is going to be all the talk this morning.
They got to win like 6 in a row.
Yeah, so they're playing the Patriots next.
Winnable.
They should be able to win that game. Then they're playing the Texans.
Lose.
That's going to be
losable,
tough.
Winnable.
Cardinals.
Win. A bowl.
Colts.
Winnable.
Winnable. Then you got the Seahawks. Who the hell knows?
Winnable and losable.
It's true. Then you got the Dolphins. We'll see. Winnable. Maybe. Then they got the Jaguars. Rams.
Might be turning a corner, but winnable.
Rams, which is this December 22nd. So
who knows? Rams might have Cooper Kupp back by then.
And then they got Bills and Dolphins.
Yeah. So that's a favorable schedule.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it is possible for them to go on a run with them sitting at 2-5. You can
they can turn it around. You're right.
Do you think it's too extreme to say like they can lose one more game?
No, they can lose.
You think they could to make the playoffs? You think that they can? I think they can lose one more,
possibly make the playoffs. Sure.
Yeah, because you're 11-6.
11-6 is a good record.
It's a good record.
They can probably lose 2 more and be in the mix because I think the team they just lost to, the Steelers, they're in a
dark taco. Let's go.
A division where it's going to be either the Steelers or Ravens. Maybe the Bengals sneak in there to be competing within that division, but all of those teams have at least 2 losses, right? So
that's what I'm saying. The AFC is going to be competitive, but the AFC South probably is going to produce just one. AFC West probably going to produce one. So
no. We might get 2 in the AFC West.
Okay, maybe
could be Broncos or Chargers.
Okay, maybe you get
mathematically.
Sure. And then North 2, most likely, right? So there's room.
There is room.
We'll see. I mean, the Jets just again, it's just the expectations, and it feels like almost every game it has to be a playoff game, and it's week 7, which is not ideal.
You need that mentality.
But I mean, listen, Rodgers done it before, but it's just. And again, I don't think Rodgers is bad. It's just he's not prime Rodgers, and I think needs more support around him. But again, because he's not playing his best.
Yeah.
The team is going to go where Aaron Rodgers goes, because I think the narrative was, hey, or at least this is what we all got talked into. Yeah, the offensive line's banged up, but the defense is so good. The defense is amazing. And again, that, like you said, the defense can be amazing, but that run defense is not there. So if a team can establish the run and just take time off the clock, that's it. You're rocking it. So I'm just saying. Listen, the Chiefs. And then there was one undefeated team left.
Tom and I watched that Chiefs game together yesterday on YouTube. And not a fun game.
No.
Was it 5 interceptions between Purdy and Mahomes? 0 passing touchdowns between those 2 elite quarterbacks. And even though Mahomes,
it's true, Charlie,
he played okay. He played okay. One of the picks, it's tipped. It's not his interceptions aren't always just on him, like that Rodgers one you mentioned.
Sure.
But Mahomes made two plays in that game that are incredible, and it's just going to make him look like a badass. One, it was the out-of-bounds play that we talked about, where it looks like he's going to run out of bounds, and then he smartly doesn't because he knows the defense exploits a loophole in the NFL. Makes a nice play, runs for 30 yards. And then the one really doing the rounds is when he ran into the end zone, and I think it was it Mustafa? He
trucked him.
The dude, and in this game, Mustafa was lighting guys up.
Yes.
He was hitting Chiefs skill players, and he was winning those battles. And for whatever reason, runs into the Pillsbury Doughboy of quarterbacks and just folds, Tom. And now there's just this badass photo of Mahomes just staring down at his foe in the end zone. I hate it so much.
It's kind of incredible, though.
Two good plays in that game for Mahomes is all he had to make.
So Brett Coleman tweeted out
3. He had a really incredible throw in that game too. Asshole. 40 boring plays. He makes 3 cool ones.
So Brett Coleman goes, how are the Chiefs winning? Offense so bad. I mean, look at these stats. They're 4th in positive EPA percentage, 7th in scoring drive percentage, 4th lowest punt percentage, and 2nd fewest plays that go for no gain or a loss.
Yeah.
So again, it's not pretty the way that they are winning. And a huge chunk of that is for the defense. But it's like what Charlie was saying before. Mahomes, it's not looking fancy or anything like that. He's only thrown, I think it was 6 touchdowns all season.
Yeah.
Right? But it's those plays that he's making that you just referenced that are making the difference, plus having the defense that you have, plus having Kareem Hunt, who is just like, all right, I'm going to go get another 100 yards again, just 3 yards at a time. Yeah. And they're just grinding teams down. And I think Coleman tweeted about this when we were talking about in the game. It's right now, the Chiefs are playing such an ugly brand of football. I would think they play in the AFC North. Like that's kind of like what that team reminds me of right now. Like they're playing, the defense is like playing smash mouth football.
Can we send them there? I'll take the Browns. Give me the Browns in the AFC West. You guys can have the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. So
you don't need 2 Ohio teams in the same division. That's lame.
But Chiefs, dude, I mean, undefeated. And again, if this is how they're playing now without Rashee Rice, without Isaiah Pacheco, what's going to happen when they get Isaiah Pacheco back? What,
who they're playing like, Tom? The 2015 Denver Broncos.
Oh, boy.
The last quarterback to be 6-0 with more interceptions than touchdowns was Peyton Manning. And at least he had an excuse. His body was dying and falling apart. He had plantar fascist in his foot.
I don't think it's plantar fascist.
Fighting that battle every day.
I think there's fascist.
Trying not to be a fascist from foot to face. His body just was not right. And I can't even have that stat anymore. I can't even have, Peyton Manning was throwing a lot of picks, but the Broncos were still undefeated. It was a cool thing to have, and Patrick Mahomes came and he took that away from me too. Beanie Bishop. Yeah, he had a hell of a game for the Steelers.
The 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, torn ACL is what they're doing. That's again, right now the 49ers just don't have any wide receivers. Juwan Jennings was out of that game too. Deebo Samuel left that game, right? They already don't have Christian McCaffrey as like their dynamic running back. And the 49ers just a beat up football team. And it was actually a very well-balanced game in terms of neither team having any of the guys they would really like to have out there on offense for them. That's true.
You know.
I actually don't know where my car is. It's just gone. So hopefully that turns up sometime soon. But it's crazy times.
Bears and Chiefs. But the Bears didn't escape the curse wheel. What are you talking about?
Oh, maybe because it was like the second spin or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's a fake spin.
It's a fake spin.
We got the Broncos, so I jokingly said, "Let me just spin it again."
Can we talk about the Packers?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Packers game-winning field goal, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon McManus, dude, for 45. And again, we watched that game, the 49ers Chiefs, and Carlson just hits a 55-yarder. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then misses an extra point. And I was like, there we go. That's why. But holy crap, dude. Packers defense. Now, like, we're talking right now.
That was their best defensive performance.
Dude, they are. And again, it's been the turnovers that have been like super impressive. But this one, CJ Stroud, just career low.
89 passing yards?
Yeah, bro, he had 86 passing
86
yards.
passing
86
yards.
passing yards. That's it.
Yeah.
They just limited whatever the hell CJ Stroud was trying to do. Joe Mixon had himself a really nice day. He ran all over the Packers. But considering the Packers had 3 turnovers in the first half.
Yep.
Right? And they were still able to win that football game. Bro, I feel good about this team. And I think that the Love stuff is going to get cleaned up. But again, he's doing more than he's hurting the team.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, he's throwing some interceptions.
It's like Josh Allen, like last year, right?
But then leading a 2-minute drive, and getting McManus in field goal range.
Yeah.
And making insane throws like the one to Tucker Kraft. And again, like that's just, you hope that gets kind of reeled in a little bit. But dude is balling right now. I mean, you
can do that if you answer your pick with a touchdown pass.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Appreciate it.
To me, the Packers are kind of like their offense is like or offense and special teams right now, like Jekyll and Hyde. Very, very hot, very cold. You had a special teams play that could have cost you the game.
Oh my
God. And then your newly acquired kicker won you the game on special teams.
Exactly.
Jordan Love, throw some interceptions, throw some cool touchdowns.
It was like Aaron Nagler said this too. Like last year, it would feel like the Packers would have lost this game, right?
Sure.
But like having that gritty win, and now they're sitting at 5-2, about to take on the Jaguars before they're about to go head to the NFC North and take on like the Lions and Bears. Yeah. Like, dude, I feel so good about this team because one, you see how they are when they play a complete game like they did against the Cardinals, but even going up against a good team like the Texans, the defense playing the way that it did. And I want to shout out the Texans too, because they had 5 defensive starters out as well, right? So that's going to cause some problems.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They did, yeah. But
who's out?
Dude, I don't know. I have to look at their list. Yeah, it's literally 5 defensive starters that they're missing. But when it comes to the Packers, like Jeff Hafley, that they barely blitzed in that game, but they were getting pressures like 50% of the time because they were scheming it real well, like putting Rashawn Gary over center. And dude, like it was really fun to see. And like to see just the way the defense has been, and when they need to rely on the defense and it actually shows up, like it's been pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. So I feel really confident about this team going forward, and I just can't wait to start playing some NFC North opponents because if it's anything like the game yesterday,
it's gonna be a gauntlet. For the Texans, though, this is the third game this season where CJ Stroud's taken 4 sacks.
Yes.
I'm not saying like it's necessarily like just an offensive line thing or something like that, but when your quarterback is getting sacked that consistently, just a little thing to keep your eye on.
Mm-hmm.
It might be an issue. The Texans might not be as good as we thought, but last week I thought we were saying the Texans aren't getting enough credit for how well they're playing. So they will get Nico Collins back at some point. But yeah, I think as a Packers fan, you just got to feel really good. Oh yeah, Lassiter wasn't out there. He's been nice this season.
Yep.
Okay.
So they were missing people.
Kamari Lassiter's had a nice season.
But again, like for the Packers to keep pace and to see like the Vikings-Lions game, which we're going to talk about, that like is that going to be the quality of NFC North games like this year? Like then let's go. Like let's bring it on because the NFC North continues to dominate and the Bears can't enjoy their bye week. No one's going to enjoy their bye week. Not going to happen. Saw someone mention about Jared Goff. More touchdowns than incompletions right now, like in the last 4 games.
Nobody beats Goff.
Jared Goff is playing a level of efficient damn football that is pretty darn good. Again, they have a really strong run game and stuff like that, but no, Goff has been playing really efficient, clean football.
Doesn't matter if you have 1 ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
It's true. It's true. And they were able to knock off and give the first loss to the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It was a good game. And the Lions, I think, kind of had to win this game. Tied up 5-1 for each team. David Montgomery leaves that game for a little bit. It looked like, he's limping off the field. You're like, oh God, it's a knee injury. He gets back out there though. And then just in crazy, insane finishing fashion, Vikings punched the ball out of Montgomery's hands. First fumble in like 247 rushing attempts, carries, whatever. Ivan Pace houses it. Then Vikings can't convert. And despite all of those stats with Goff, right? Like the efficiency, the completions, the no interceptions. Was there interceptions in that stretch too? I don't think there's just interceptions in that.
I think he threw 1.
Just 1?
I think 1.
Either like he's been very, very good, but like they needed a drive against a very good defense, and they got it. Jahmyr Gibbs moving them down the field. They get into range, and they've got, Jake Bates out of the UFL making a clutch kick. It's just like the Lions have all of those things that you want to actually believe you're a championship caliber football team. It's toughness. It's the no quit. We got the no quit attitude, cliche bullshit. They got all of it. They got like all of that, and they did it without their best player outside of Goff, on the field, in Aiden Hutchinson. So it's impressive. And then I think it was Good Morning Football talking about it this morning, where since he came to the Vikings, Brian Flores' defense has given up 30 points just 4 times, and 3 of them have been to the Lions. So within the division, the Lions kind of know how to play against one of the best defensive minds, in the league right now. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to continually talk about how good of a complete football team the Detroit Lions are. Yeah. And I love it.
Yeah.
And they are going to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, now we're there.
The Broncos will hand the Chiefs their first loss, and the Lions will beat the fucking piss out of the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Clip it, Johnny. You got your receipts. I am stamping them, and I'm standing by them. Unless
Brian
they play the
Branch.
Bills in the Super Bowl, then I don't know what happens.
Brian Branch.
Yeah. Very
Brian
good.
Branch.
He extended an olive branch to the opposing team, and it was a trick.
Bro, he's just too good. He's just too damn good. It's true. Sutton to the Steelers. I don't think the Broncos are moving Sutton.
No, we're not trying to.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I mean, we won with him having like no catches or a catch.
Yeah.
Dude, if Russell Wilson had Sutton and Pickens, Steelers might gone to Super Bowl.
Steelers got Super Bowl. That's it.
Russ and Sutton had an insane connection last year. There's no denying that.
Yeah. I think, you look also at real quick with the Lions and Vikings, like the stat lines are insanely similar between the two teams too. Like Goff went 22 for 25, like for 280. I think that he got sacked a few times. He got sacked 4 times. Darnold got sacked 4 times. Darnold had the 1 interception, but it went 22 for 27. They both had near 140 yards rushing. Both had around like over 250 yards passing. Like they were pretty damn similar. And I think that, I think this also shows the Vikings are legit too.
Oh,
the Vikings, like there's been some questions like, all right, like, can they help? But bro, they went toe to toe with the Lions and like they could have won that football game. So I wouldn't be, if I was a Vikings fan, and I just really dedicated myself to the evil arts, I wouldn't be feeling the worst after today's loss. It hurts, a divisional loss and stuff, but, not good. Not good. Sorry, EK. But Lions got that W. Vikings, I still hate you, but it was a good game. Speaking of things that are hated, there was a London game again, and the Jacksonville Jaguars went down 10-0, and I had picked the Jaguars to win, and I said, excuse me. And I was like, this is going to be a disaster. But then they scored like 20 plus unanswered points and absolutely rolled the New England Patriots. You said you think the Jaguars might be turning a corner.
They might be. They even in their let me look at them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their losses have not been bad, right? Let's see here.
Well, it depends on
they lost by 4 to the Texans. That was a close game.
That was a close game. Yeah.
They just barely beat the Colts. Bears worked them, and then they worked the Patriots. So in those like last 4 games, it's not like they have been as bad as like I watched the Panthers perform yesterday, or as bad as the Giants performed yesterday, and certainly the Patriots. I think Brian Thomas is an insane rookie talent right now. And the game the week before in London, the big story was, the Jags dropping 4 passes, 4 probable touchdown passes. It wasn't just passes. They were 4 TD passes, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So you clean that up.
It's true.
I'm not saying they're a good football team, but I think they can win. Let's call it like right around half of their games moving forward.
Well, I thought that like they were turning a corner after, that close game with the Texans. They beat the Colts, and I was like, okay, like maybe for the and then they got their ass whooped by the Bears, and I was like, oh, okay, and they look bad against the Bears.
Yeah,
and like to
Bears
start this
defense
game
is legit, right?
Yeah, and after this game, they looked, at the start they looked bad, but
they're not going to be consistent. But
you and I keep talking about it.
Peterson's not going to get fired. That's my take.
Not right this second. Like you and I are on the same page of like, there's too much talent on that squad.
Yeah.
For them to be playing this poorly, which then makes you look to coaching, because that's really kind of the okay. Because I don't want to say like 100%, but if the Jaguars lost this game to the Patriots, like I think Doug Peterson, there's a good chance he doesn't have a job right now. Like they may have.
They Brexit Peterson.
Yeah, I might have said no. Here,
like you have been Brexited. Stay here and
talk about this.
England.
So Jaguars, a little bit of hope, maybe. But hey, Jaguars, you got the same record as the Jets.
Nice. What's the Colt? What are the Colts at right now?
Oh my God, the Colts.
They're 2-3.
They.
Oh no, sorry. That's the old one. Damn it.
The Colts, man. The way
Where are
they
the
play
Colts at?
football hurts me. They're 4-3.
They're 4-3.
Yeah.
Look at that. They got a winning record, Indy. And I think Jacksonville might be a better team than the Colts right now. I'm not
In
impressed
Jacksonville,
that
they
the
are.
Colts beat the Tim Boyle
Mhm.
Dolphins.
True, Bear Dog. True.
But, you know.
Bless you.
That's a great question. Who can put together a streak? The Colts or the Jags?
'Cause
Fighting
you-
off a second sneeze. I'm not going to let it consume me.
You could just sneeze it out, buddy.
I'm not going to let it.
Think about the feathers
you, sneeze.
tickling your nose.
Here I'm back.
As you start like bleeding out your nose, you're just like, but I didn't sneeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a great game if Daniels is able to play. We'll talk about that. But the Colts, it's like it's this weird in between where they are. Because I'm so sorry, Merrill. It's this weird in between because they go up against the Dolphins, who are not good. Tyler Huntley gets hurt in that game. Tim Boyle comes in. And Anthony Richardson did not have a great day. He was their leading rusher, too, right? Which, that's going to be problematic. But 10 for 24, 129 yards. And the reason I say they're in a weird place is because, like, with Joe Flacco, again, it's not pretty. Like, they beat the Titans, but it was like, oh, okay, we're barely beating the Titans. But it's just figuring out, again, they got some injuries, but who their quarterback is going to be. And you just need to see stuff from Anthony Richardson. Like, he has to be the starter right now because you have to see what you've got in him. And they're winning games, like they won, so that's good. But it's not very pretty or impressive the way that they're doing it. And it's this weird of like, hey, we need to evaluate and see what we have in Anthony Richardson. But is there going to be a point where if he struggles, do they go, all right, we're going to go to Flacco just to see if we can win more games? Like, it's the opposite of the Panthers right now, because the Panthers are going to get to a point where Andy Dalton, it's going to be like, all right, well, we might as well see what we got in Bryce Young and see if there's any development there, because, like, we're not making the playoffs,
Yeah, and the Colts have the Texans this week. So,
Yeah.
like, what do you do?
It's
What
true,
do you
Bengals.
do?
It's true. So Colts, we're keeping an eye out. Dolphins, yeah, man, life just sucks. Just when you get Tua back, then we can actually evaluate your team, because right now it's just...
Yeah. The Colts have the Texans, the Vikings, the Bills, and then the Jets, and then the Lions.
Oh my God, that's a tough stretch, dude.
They are so effed. The Colts, if they are so effed. Actually, the Jags might be able to pull ahead of the Colts with that schedule. Although I'm guessing the Jags' schedule is somewhat similar. So
it's true. That would be excellent. So yeah, Colts, we're keeping an eye out on you. Speaking of, I want to talk about some other games. Buffalo Bills, they won. The first half of that game was not good. They were losing in the first half of that game. It was 10-7 at halftime. But Josh Allen's just like, okay, never mind. I got this. And Amari Cooper had his first touchdown with the Bills. Let's go. 4 for 66. Keon Coleman, he had himself a nice game, and that was talked about, that with Cooper into that game, it should make the other receivers better too. Less pressure on them. It'll scheme guys open. So, yeah,
dude,
if
Coleman continues to develop, and we're talking about the Bills with Cooper, Coleman, and Khalil Shakir, that is a nice trio of receivers. And then you got Dalton Kincaid. And Coleman didn't he have a touchdown, like an insane touchdown grab that was basically ruled not a touchdown catch because of where his foot kind of landed? Either way, it was like an insane catch, and it was like this close from being a touchdown. So
it's true, mustard face. It's true.
But the Bills, they started really slow. They were down 10-0 in this game, right? Against the Titans.
That was it was like 10-7. 10-7 by halftime.
Give me some faster starts, Buffalo. Some faster starts. Still no interceptions from one Josh Allen.
Hey.
Love it though. They got time.
Oh, just wait.
To figure it all out.
Saquon Barkley. I think that's that 176 yards. I think he wants to have a good day against his former team. I think Russell Wilson, he was ready, but no, Saquon Barkley, he was ready to cook, my friend. Eagles, yeah, look a lot better when they give the ball to Saquon. They had 269 rushing yards against the Giants.
And they got 8 sacks, Philly. 8 sacks in that game. Their defense might be – the Eagles' defense might be coming together. They
played well last week.
Yeah.
Their offense that was not good.
Jalen Carter, he's been good. Kobe Dean, he's been good. I think we're starting to see the Eagles defense we thought we'd see last year.
Let's go, Nathan.
So I don't know. Maybe the Eagles are flipping the script on this season.
I think their offense is like their success is going to come through their run game, right? But like that's also what their bread and butter has been, even when they had Swift. Like I remember like going up against the Packers and rushing for like over 300 yards, and it was miserable. Right. So I think if they are able to just feed Saquon over and over again and like establish that run game, then it's just going to open things up. 1, but 2, that's really where that team is. They can have that like stifling defense and that dominant defense with a great run game. The Eagles will be just fine. Yeah. And the Giants. Yeah.
On the flip side, they might have just played the Giants. We don't know.
That's the other thing, right? But the Giants, like they beat the Seahawks. Like the Giants have a good D line. Like that has been shout out for them. But their offense couldn't do anything. I mean, Daniel Jones had less than 100 yards.
No,
right?
And like Barkley tore him up, but like Jalen Hurts was sacked 5 times as well. So like I think the Giants got a performance out of their defensive front. They just didn't stop the run.
Sure.
Like Hurts wasn't particularly great passing the ball. And 5 sacks is a lot. But when the opposing quarterback, I think Jones was sacked all 8 times. I don't know if Drew Lock got sacked once. It might have been 7-1. I don't know. When your defense gets 8 sacks, everybody forgets that your own quarterback was dropped 5 times.
See, Nick, we'll see. Yeah, of course. Well, I think someone mentioned about Geno real quick. Yeah, Geno, again, they makes sense because I was sitting here, I was streaming all these games, so I didn't see what their inactive list was. And I was like, what the hell are the Seahawks? And they're like, oh, they got like Byron Murphy back. And so I was like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. They're getting a little bit healthier. But Geno had a throw yesterday, which was disgusting. And he's, dude, you give him time, like Geno's going to be just fine. But yeah, 18 for 28, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, was sacked 1 time. And Kenneth Walker had himself a real nice game, right? He had a receiving touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Seahawks can be fun. And I think for the Falcons, it's just the Falcons are just frustrating, man. Like they're a frustrating football team. Like we see what their potential could be. And I feel, and maybe this is just, you know, from watching the Falcons for over the past few years, it feels like their defense, right? Like it was like 2-3 years ago, like their defense would be like bad. And then they would have like this game where they just lock down and are incredible. I feel like their offense now is like, okay, yeah, Bijan, who's going to be, you know, incredible when he gets the ball. They'll put up all of these things, but then Kirk Cousins, which Kirk Cousins is going to show up. And I feel like the offense is just not consistent enough yet. And again, it's week 7. You know, they still put up yards and stuff, but I don't know.
No, just like the Falcons offense went against a good and healthier defense finally. And their problem is the same problem it's been all season. They can't put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. That's just what the Falcons do. And until they figure that shit out, they're going to be a week-to-week football team. Luckily, they're in a weird division as well, so it's not like a death sentence for the Falcons. And the Seahawks also in a weird division. Seattle could win that division easily if their defense can stay healthy from here on out. If Kenneth Walker can still be the X factor in that offense, and luckily DK Metcalf's injury, I think Mike McDonald said, doesn't appear serious.
Yeah,
we could be talking about Seattle as a playoff team. You know, come December. Now, I've got a take on head coaches addressing injuries. I feel like if it's a defensive head coach, they're always like, yeah, it's probably not serious, without actually knowing. Offensive head coaches like, oh, we fear the worst. We fear the worst before they actually know.
Yeah.
It's just like that mentality. Like a defensive head coach, like, yeah,
rub some dirt in
Aiden Hutchinson's injury, it's not that serious. He'll be back by the Super Bowl.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Mets
and
Jets.
Jane Daniels' injury.
Yes.
appears to not be serious. They got to do some more tests, but they said during the game, X-rays didn't show fractures or anything in his ribs. So that's good news as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, because they're playing against the Bears. Dude, I want to see that. Like, Commanders, Bears, like, that should be a lot. It's so funny because this game was on Thursday Night Football, like, 2 years in a row. And, like, this should be a primetime game. They moved it from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, but, yeah, it's so freaking annoying. Joey and a Fitty!
Joey!
So it was 5-2 with whoever they want at QB. The Browns are going to hell with no QB, and the players now at war with the fans. I'm so done with this team. Well, we are just about to talk about the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. So let's talk about the good news first. Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is back, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Chubb. I don't care if he carried it, only got 22 yards. He got a touchdown, and that made me very, very happy because I love Nick Chubb.
Yeah, everybody rooting for Nick.
Everybody's rooting for Nick Chubb. So that's the bit of good news. So that's something, right? Perna?
Yeah.
After the Netflix roasting of Tom Brady, I'm scared ESPN's coming for my cum jokes. You stay away from my cum jokes, ESPN! I'm the king of jizz. I'm the king of jizz, ESPN, not you.
You can see how long of a season it's been. It's just, you looked more youthful. I looked more youthful. And it's just, the season is just...
I feel like I look better now, baby.
Your hair's looking great. How's that hair stuff wearing? It looks like a full head of hair we're talking about. Yeah.
I was just appreciating my hair the other day.
Your hairline's fantastic.
I think it's working.
Yeah. All right. Hey, look at that hairline. That's a great hairline. So you think you have more forehead than I don't know. I got a pretty big forehead. Pretty big forehead. I couldn't see.
Whose forehead? Who's got more forehead?
I mean, I don't got 5, but again, I got big hands.
Yeah, I have small hands.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. So then that. Okay. We'll figure this out.
God
but
gave
yeah,
me small hands to make my wiener look bigger.
So
Never forget, I'm the king of jizz.
That's true. It's true. Deshaun Watson ruptured his Achilles, so he is out for the season. So that is all done now.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, Deshaun Watson was actually playing pretty solid in this game. 15 for 17, 128 yards, sacked twice already, but was having like at least an efficient football game, which is something that you really haven't seen from Deshaun Watson. And now it's kind of like, okay, well, what the hell do the Browns do? Because if Nick Chubb can get healthier and healthier as the season goes along and they can kind of lean on that run game, they're currently sitting at 1-6. So it's getting late in Cleveland real quick.
Yeah.
They lose a couple more games, then their playoff shots are already over. So I feel like Winston is gonna have to get thrown in, right? And it's like,
I mean,
all
he
right,
played in this game.
so throw him in there and say, hey, let's see what we got.
They had 3 QBs out there. Yeah, they're gonna take a look at who's gonna start this week. I don't know who you go with. I don't really care at this point. The Browns are going to be probably in a position to draft a quarterback, so that'll be interesting. A lot was made about fans booing when Deshaun Watson went down.
Yes,
but isn't that better than cheering? What if they're booing that he's hurt, Tom? I think I'd rather hear boos when I'm hurt because people are, at least in my head, I'd be like, they're booing that I got hurt.
When he was getting carted off, they were cheering. Yeah.
They were cheering when he was on the cart?
Yes.
But that's when you cheer because you're like, oh, you know, like they do the cheer when they're getting off the field, even though they're still really hurt. You're just, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that was the implication there, Perna. I don't think that was the intention.
I don't know.
Well, so Myles Garrett got up at the post game and was basically like, he's done everything right, throughout college and the pros, and all this stuff. And I was explaining this yesterday because I'm not the reaction police, and I feel like, I am not I don't cheer for injuries. It's just because of people, what have you. And as I said yesterday, I was very content just watching Deshaun Watson suck and just be terrible and waste the money and waste the draft picks and just be like, there you go. He gets hurt, and I feel like, okay, his season's done. But as a team and as an organization, you're still just like, bro, what the hell? Like, okay, you're sitting at 1-6. Things are not going well. and you lose one more game, you're probably not going to go to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 if we're being nice. But the Browns' schedule right now, they're going up against the Ravens next week. Then they got the Chargers. That'll be a tough game. And then they got the Saints, Steelers, Broncos, Steelers again, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, and then Ravens. So I don't think that the Cleveland Browns are making the playoffs. I don't think that's a hot take. And I know it's only week 7, but we're about to enter a very real world within the next 3 or 4 weeks where the Browns are already not going to make it. We know they're not going to make it. And it's like, what do you do for the rest of the season? You have to pay Deshaun Watson all this money still. And like you said, yeah, you could draft a quarterback, but dude, like, are we going to start to see people lose their jobs, in Cleveland? Because this trade, and we knew it was bad last year. We knew it was probably going to be bad when it started, but this trade is going to go down as one of the worst in NFL history. And that I know that gets thrown around a lot, and people go, "Oh, the Russell Wilson trade doesn't sniff this."
No.
Like, Russell Wilson trade's bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not just trying to preserve Perna's sanity. That's been gone. But the Deshaun Watson, the capital, the PR damage, the amount of money that was spent on Deshaun Watson, especially the performance that you got on the field, and now this is the likely end of that. Talk about a complete and total disaster for the Cleveland Browns. That's going to set them back. Unless they can draft a franchise quarterback, and he is right out of the gate, just amazing, and is able to lead them to the promised land. Holy crap. This is a catastrophe for Cleveland. And you talk about the goodwill with the fans, that's gone. Like, that is just gone. So, and now you're talking about building your new stadium and all that stuff. It's just, dude, it's ugly. I empathize with a lot of Cleveland Browns fans because it's a crappy situation, dude. It's not good. Fans were not happy about it. I don't want to generalize, but a good amount of fans were not happy about it when the trade went down. And now for this to blow up in your face, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
Trent Baalke needs to go.
If Deshaun Watson was cut, and they can't cut him, but if he was cut, there's not another team in the league who's going to sign him. Russell Wilson was signed by the Steelers. Russell Wilson came out and actually played a good game of football last night. Here's what's weird to me, okay? And I listened to Myles Garrett defend, Deshaun Watson. And I get that's what teammates do for each other.
Sure.
And, Garrett said people in glass houses, and he was like, I'm not perfect. And of course, as he's saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, he did try to murder Mason Rudolph one time. He tried to kill him
one time.
But Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb are the two highlights of the Browns roster. Those are two guys Browns fans love. Those are two guys fans from other teams respect. And I have great respect for Myles Garrett. I don't know if we need to bend over to backwards to defend Deshaun Watson and how the situation was handled by the fans on the field. And maybe I would feel a little different about Myles Garrett defending him if, I don't know, one of the Browns players when they traded for Watson was like, you know what? I'm not a fan of my team trading for a guy facing 20 plus lawsuits for varying degrees of sexual misconduct and assault. Maybe if one of those guys, took their moral high ground when the trade went down, I would care a little bit more about them, saying it then. But it's just a bizarre situation.
But
I think the point he makes, don't boo injuries. I think most people agree with that. When you're at a game, though,
true, sir.
There's a different mentality in sports games. So it was weird. It's like one of those things you see Watson go down, and you know how a lot of people are feeling about that.
Well,
it doesn't make it right, but a lot of people are feeling good that he's not going to have to be their quarterback anymore.
Sure, and I think that you kind of touched on this there, and I mentioned this on the live stream yesterday. There's going to be a difference between how players react and fans react, right?
Sure.
Because they
know each other on a different level. Top of that.
There's a huge difference between in the locker room and outside the locker room, obviously. And I think that you have the fans who can only react based off of the information that they're given, based off of, everything that their team and franchise has put them through as fans. And I'm not talking about just these last few years. But then all that to happen, then the Baker Mayfield thing happens, then the Deshaun Watson trade happens. And it's like, no, the reason we're doing this, the reason that we're going and getting this guy and spending all this money and all this draft capital and ruining a bunch of goodwill with the fans is because this is going to make us a Super Bowl team. Because if you look at it from the perspective of what the Browns roster was, that great defense, they had a good O-line, they had a good run game, they had some weapons, they got Amari Cooper, that Deshaun Watson, if he was Houston Texans Deshaun Watson, yeah, they can win a Super Bowl. I said earlier this season, they have Jared Goff, their Super Bowl contender. That looks real good right now. But now it's a matter of you traded away Amari Cooper. The offense is already not doing great. And yeah, this is just where it ends. So I understand where the fans are coming from 1,000,000,000%, because they're like, I didn't want this. 100% not. And it's more than just football, right? It's stuff that's coming from way outside of football that's now being dragged into this. So yeah, I think it's a situation where now Cleveland is screwed until hopefully they better pray that they hit a home run on their draft, because if they don't, dude, I mean, they wasted a really talented roster.
Yeah, they have to keep Watson. They can draft a quarterback and they can play the rookie quarterback.
True, Kevin.
There's just not much they can do about Watson. So he's got to be there.
He's cooking. So we'll see.
I think
Washington.
I think some people were posting. I didn't read it, so I don't know. But about a little bit of, I think, cap help for the Browns with the Watson injury. I don't know how it shakes out. Something to look in probably this offseason. But I think there could be a tiny bit of relief there somehow. Anyway, I shouldn't have brought that up because I don't know what the details are.
You're good. No, I think how many seasons should rookies? It depends on the situation, right? If you have a good veteran QB in front of you that they can learn from, like the Packers, then you rock and roll, and they can sit for up to 3 years. Or Mahomes sits behind Alex Smith for a year. Yeah. I think Drake May being out there right now is a situation where, which, I'm glad you brought this up about the Patriots, because we're talking about Mayo a lot yesterday and this morning, and he's saying we're not a soft team, but we played like a soft football team, and talking about this offense. And I understand that the Mayo hire for some Patriots fans are kind of okay, especially Vrabel was available, but looking at dude, they have to overcome years of really crappy offensive drafting. They do not have weapons. When KJ Osborne is out there and you're all right, and Thornton was supposed to be their speedster guy and it's just not working out. Drake May, I kind of agree with throwing him out there right now, because as long as he can stay healthy and you're kind of just seeing what you got, because the Patriots, they're not making the playoffs this year. That's a given. And their defense still be solid and stuff, but it's okay. Maybe it can kind of just get better week by week. And then by the time they get them some more support, more weapons, O-line, etc., then you're going to see better play, I should say, from Drake May. I mean, I'm a Packers fan, so I'm all about sitting QBs, but they don't have, I like Jacoby Brissett, but I don't know how much Drake May is going to benefit from sitting just with a clipboard in his hand behind Jacoby Brissett.
No, Drake was fine.
He was fine.
He threw... 2 touchdowns, no picks. He led their first opening drive touchdown of the season. It might every week might not be pretty, but I think you just look at one thing. Drake May does not look like the game is too big for him out there. That's not to say he's playing perfect football, but I think he's handling the situation very well. And if it looks like mentally he's going to be okay as he's developing, then keep him out there, get the reps, because that's the only way he's actually going to get better. Even with Bo Nix, even when he's playing really, really ineffective football, there's this thing about him where he doesn't look like he's defeated or he's losing confidence. And that's what you're looking for with a rookie who's not ready to be playing. And we have Caleb Williams, we have Jaden Daniels, we have Bo Nix, and we have Drake May out there right now. And none of them have looked like the game is really too big for them. And that's a really positive thing. It doesn't mean all of them are going to be great, but they're not going to be ruined by playing. Yeah. So just keep rocking with it, New England, and see where you're at by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And let him develop
That's true,
chemistry
Bruce.
with some of the younger receivers they do have.
That's fair. That's fair. That's true. Yeah. Also, not having playing 3 games in 11 days definitely helps. Commanders absolutely beat the piss out of the Panthers. They beat them 40-7. Jane Daniels, you mentioned, got injured in that game. Hopefully he is okay. We'll see the extent of that injury. It doesn't seem like it's too significant. Hopefully he's good to go for next week. Hell yeah, Commanders. But again, great game. Brian Robinson coming back, 71 yards. They had 214 yards on the ground, which again, this is how you support him. And Marcus Mariota. Shout out to Mariota coming in, throwing for 200 yards there. Not too bad of a day. Had 2 tutties as well, 18 for 23. And then for the Panthers, man, it's just Perny got a fitty.
Sorry, I was trying to look at.
No,
I'm not even looking at
yeah,
the screen.
I'm sorry. Panthers, they're
Hi, Mary. Thank you.
as I said about the Panthers, they're gonna come to a situation where they are currently 1-6. Same record as the Cleveland Browns. They're 1-6, and they're just gonna have to make a decision. Be like, all right, in 3 games when we're definitely out of the playoffs, let's just throw Bryce Young in and start him again, and just be 100% sure, and then start from scratch again.
Yeah, Skyberry. That is hell. I wasn't planning on it, but I did do a recap of the Panthers game.
We ride and we die together.
Broncos get the Panthers next. And what was probably frustrating about that game for Panthers fans is, Jaden Daniels does leave the game. And you did not take any advantage of Marcus Mariota. In fact, you gave Marcus Mariota one of his best performances like in the last 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your defense too.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
now, I'm just, as a Broncos fan, I'm excited to play the Panthers. I am excited to play the Panthers, especially after 10 days rest.
If the Panthers beat the Broncos, where are you at mentally?
Oh, melting down.
Yeah, that would not be good. Also, Rams. I'm sorry, Guillermo, because Guillermo was at that game.
Oh boy,
3 interceptions for Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson broke his thumb.
Aiden
Minshew
Hutchinson
comes in
broke his thumb.
just
AOC broke his thumb.
What did I say?
Aiden Hutchinson.
I mean, he did break something too.
Oh my god. Yep.
Aiden O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin O'Connell. Oh my God, we've
Probably
got
Mike.
too many guys with the same names.
Probably.
Aiden spells. Wait, what? Do they both spell it with an? Hold on. Aiden Hutchinson's an E. Aiden O'Connell's an A.
I thought it was just.
But Hutchinson's
wrestling
with an
champion.
I and not an E.
Mm.
I hate all this spelling, Tom.
Mm.
I was
Look at
told
that.
there would be no spelling.
The rushing defense. Well, the Rams get a win. They're on a short week though. They have to play the Vikings on Thursday night.
Who plays Vikings?
The Rams got to play the Vikings on Thursday night.
Whoa.
But as mentioned before, the Lions curse. Do the Rams win? Because every team that plays the Lions gets smacked the next week.
Oh.
Just some light.
Yeah, I think the Vikings will win that game.
Just some
But
light. That's fine. Raiders, yeah, they're 2 and. But you know what, Raiders? You got good company with the New York Jets. That's right. Raiders don't know what they're doing at QB. Still the same record as the Jets, so not out of it. But 2-5, yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. But again, the Raiders. You look at these teams like the Raiders. That I say putting them in the same, lumping them in the same category. The Browns, right? Right now, I got the Panthers. Like they're all going to be vying for a quarterback.
yeah.
So it's
at the moment not a rich QB draft.
Mm.
So some of those teams are going to have to go in different directions, or they're going to have to reach for a guy they're not sure about. Handed free wins. Me too, Nathan. Those Packers and their free wins. You watch it. You watch it, Kevin.
Saints and Broncos.
The Broncos will destroy the Browns. Our
Can you
defense is
imagine?
too good.
Oh my god, that'd be bad. That would be
Dude, if
rough.
I lose to the Panthers and the Browns,
I don't even know if that's a lukewarm take. I think that's
yeah.
Tonight we got 2 games, another doubleheader. Another one. You got the Ravens and Buccaneers. You said you think the Buccaneers are going to get their ass kicked.
They're playing the Ravens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to get they're going to get worked.
I think
they're in a position though where Falcons lost, Saints lost. This is if they beat the Ravens, they are in the consensus number 1 spot for the NFC South. Not standings wise, public perception. Oh, the Bucs are real.
Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams.
We'll see though.
Our safety duos will meet up. All right, we'll see. We'll see. That's it. And then you also have the Chargers and Cardinals.
Oh yeah, the Chargers play.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a later game. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's
Chargers
starting
got a
even
super
later.
long break. Yeah.
No. Like Mahomes, like running to the sideline and then putting the brakes in. Like it is assumed, which again, he didn't do anything wrong. It was assumed that you're running out of bounds as a quarterback. I don't like that because it is assumed that way. Like the Packers last year, they played against Mahomes. They lit his ass up. They hit Mahomes. So he was like running out. He's like, nope, he's still in bounds.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often because more often than not, and I'm just going to say, especially with big name quarterbacks throwing Mahomes in there, they're going to get the flag if you hit them while they're running out of bounds. So taking advantage of that, I don't care if it's Mahomes. I don't care if it's Josh Allen. I don't care if it's Jordan Love. I just think it's kind of a crappy thing to do. I don't like the fake slide.
I don't think it's a crappy thing to do. I think it's a smart thing to do by Mahomes.
Well, I'm saying
I think if you're a defensive coordinator going up against him, you got to educate your team and be like, he does this. Sure. If he's running out of bounds,
smack him.
Hit him. Like, don't assume that he's going to go out of bounds like Joe Burrow or any other quarterback.
I think you just have to hug him.
I can only think of Joe Burrow right now. Yeah, just fucking hit him.
Just give him a hug.
Mahomes knows he has that advantage there. It's not like it's not like he's not aware of it. He's a competitor. He's gonna take it. He's gonna use every advantage he has,
which he has every right to. I'm just saying I don't like that like QB play because it is like I put it in around the same category as the fake slide because once you're out of bounds, you're protected. Right? Especially as a QB, when you slide, like you're supposed to be protected. Even if you're going in for the slide and you get hit and guys I can't stop, you get a flag. Yeah. And I think with those extra rules, it creates an unfair advantage.
And it's not a different rule for a quarterback on the sideline. All players are protected by the sideline, but there is an unwritten different set of rules for a quarterback by the sideline. Everybody knows it.
Yes.
It's not the first time he's done it either. So it's kind of on the 49ers for not knowing that you got to watch him there.
Yeah. May has been solid, granted everything that's around him. We'll see, Esper. We'll see. Yeah, I hope Jane Daniels is all right because that should be a fun game against the Bears next week. So we'll see. But Perna, what do you got coming out today, buddy? Short week.
Winners and losers will be up tomorrow. So if you're a hurting Panthers fan, you can go watch the Panthers in the worst game ever.
So, I mean, again, every quarterback can do it, and some quarterbacks do take advantage of it. And again, it's going to get more press because it's Mahomes. I just don't like it because there's the unwritten rules that, oh man, if you hit a quarterback and they're about to go out of bounds, you're going to get a 15-yard penalty, which could change the game. And so because of that, over the years, you see it every single time. Defenders slow the hell down, right? Or they don't go in for the tackle because they're like, all right, this guy is running out of bounds. Yeah. So, I mean, the Packers lit him up last year, but we'll see.
Make him earn that extra 15 yards. Hit his ass.
I'm saying you just go in and you hug him and you walk out of bounds together. Yeah. Like, we're going this way now. Here we go.
And then you try and mouth kiss him through your helmet.
I didn't say that. No,
you put a little tongue out there for him.
That's okay. Well, if the NFL is scripted, Week 7 is going to be coming out later tonight. Then I'll be streaming the Ravens-Buccaneers game. We streamed 4 games yesterday. Got 2 videos out. Go check those out. And then I'll be putting out every NFL fan's reaction to Week 7 later tonight after the 2 games. They're not getting rid of Dak because they just paid him. They paid him the highest paid man in NFL history. So
yeah,
it ain't happening. Ain't happening. Now the fine too. Yeah, it's true. But folks, we appreciate the ever living heck out of you. And we'll see you back on Wednesday for another episode of GPS. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destination.
Packers hit them. They did on Sunday night.